Have you ever felt your body acting differently and wondered if it's trying to tell you something important, something you might be missing? For many seniors, subtle changes in the body can be quiet warnings, signaling that the end might be closer than anyone realizes. These signs aren't always loud or obvious. They're often slow, easy-to-ignore shifts that get brushed off as just aging. But ignoring them could mean missing a chance to act, prepare, or find peace. In this video, we'll uncover 5 critical warning signs that 99% of seniors show about a year before they pass away, drawn from the real experiences of caregivers, doctors, and loved ones. Stay with us until the end, because recognizing these patterns could empower you to respond with wisdom, make meaningful choices, or even spot something you hadn't noticed before in yourself or someone you love. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 1. Increased sensitivity to temperature and physical sensation. One of the less commonly discussed but strikingly prevalent signs that a person may be nearing the end of life is a heightened sensitivity to temperature and physical sensations. This phenomenon often manifests in subtle but noticeable ways. A person might feel perpetually cold, even in a comfortably warm room, or they may find that a familiar blanket now feels unbearably scratchy or heavy. Sensations that once went unnoticed, like a cool breeze across the skin, the splash of water during a shower, or even a gentle touch, can suddenly feel amplified, uncomfortable, or even painful. At first, this might seem like a minor quirk or a passing complaint, easily dismissed as irritability or aging. However, this increased sensitivity is often a profound signal of deeper physiological changes occurring within the body. Why it happens? As the body approaches the final stages of life, its systems begin to slow down. One of the most significant changes is in circulation. Blood flow to the extremities, hands, feet, fingers, and toes, becomes less robust as the heart's efficiency wanes. This reduced circulation can leave the skin feeling colder and more vulnerable to external stimuli. Additionally, the skin itself changes. It thins with age, losing elasticity and subcutaneous fat that once provided insulation and cushioning. The body's thermoregulatory system, responsible for maintaining a stable internal temperature, also becomes less effective. Nerve endings may become hypersensitive, making even mild sensations feel overwhelming. For example, a soft cotton sheet might feel abrasive, or a room at 70 degrees Fahrenheit might feel like a deep freeze. Real-life example. Consider the case of Paul, a 79-year-old retired veteran who loved spending crisp winter evenings on his porch, wrapped in a light jacket, sipping tea. Over the course of a year, his daughter noticed a shift. Paul began avoiding the outdoors entirely, even in mild weather. Inside, he layered himself in thick socks, gloves, and multiple blankets. Yet he still complained of feeling cold. "It's in my bones," he'd say, even when the thermostat was set to a cozy 75 degrees Fahrenheit. He also began wincing at small touches, like a pat on the shoulder, and complained that his favorite wool sweater felt like sandpaper. These changes puzzled his family until Paul was diagnosed with advanced heart failure a few months later. In hindsight, his heightened sensitivity to temperature and touch was one of the earliest indicators that his body was entering a quieter, slower phase of life. Emotional and psychological layers. This sensitivity isn't purely physical. It often carries emotional weight. As energy levels decline, a person's tolerance for sensory stimulation diminishes. Bright lights, loud noises, or even bustling environments that once felt comforting can become overwhelming. This retreat from sensory input often mirrors a broader withdrawal from the external world, as the person's focus turns inward toward reflection or rest. For some, this shift can feel like a natural part of letting go, while for others, it may cause frustration or embarrassment, especially if they struggle to articulate why they feel so uncomfortable. What you can do. If you notice a loved one exhibiting increased sensitivity to temperature or touch, the most valuable response is empathy and adaptability. Small adjustments can make a significant difference. Control the environment. Keep rooms at a consistent, comfortable temperature, typically 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit for those feeling cold. Use portable heaters or heated blankets for targeted warmth, but ensure they're safe and not too heavy. Choose soft materials. Opt for lightweight, breathable fabrics like cotton or bamboo for bedding and clothing. Avoid scratchy materials like wool or synthetic blends that might irritate sensitive skin. Minimize sensory overload. Dim lights, reduce background noise, and limit physical contact to gentle, predictable touches. Ask the person what feels most comfortable rather than assuming. Validate their experience. Avoid dismissing complaints as just aging. Acknowledge their discomfort with phrases like, "I can see this is really bothering you. Let's find a way to make you feel better." These adjustments may seem minor, but they can provide immense relief during a time when comfort is paramount. By creating a soothing environment, you're not just addressing physical discomfort, you're honoring the person's changing needs with dignity and care. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 2. Persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. Fatigue is a universal experience, but there's a distinct difference between the tiredness that follows a long day and the bone-deep exhaustion that lingers despite rest. For many seniors in their final year of life, persistent, unrelenting fatigue becomes a hallmark sign that the body is undergoing a profound shift. This isn't the kind of tiredness that a good night's sleep or a strong cup of coffee can fix. It's a pervasive heaviness that makes even simple tasks, like brushing teeth, folding laundry, or walking to the kitchen, feel like monumental challenges. This exhaustion often signals that the body is conserving energy for essential functions as it prepares for a deeper rest. Why it happens. Persistent fatigue in the final stages of life often stems from a combination of physiological factors. As the cardiovascular system weakens, less oxygen-rich blood reaches muscles and organs, leading to a constant sense of depletion. Chronic inflammation, common in aging or terminal illnesses, can also sap energy by taxing the immune system. Additionally, metabolic changes may reduce the body's ability to process nutrients efficiently, leaving cells undernourished. In some cases, low oxygen levels in the blood, hypoxemia, or hormonal imbalances further exacerbate the sense of exhaustion. This fatigue isn't just physical. It can manifest mentally as brain fog, difficulty concentrating, or a lack of motivation to engage in once cherished activities. Real-life example. Take Linda, a 74-year-old woman who was a pillar of her community, known for her tireless involvement in her church choir and local volunteer groups. Over a few months, her friends noticed she was pulling back. She skipped rehearsals, passed her volunteer duties to others, and began declining invitations to social events. "I'm just worn out," she'd say, attributing it to a busy schedule or a restless night. But the truth was more telling. Even short walks to the mailbox left her breathless, and no amount of sleep seemed to recharge her. Despite eating a balanced diet and maintaining a healthy routine, the fatigue persisted. Eventually, doctors discovered that Linda's heart was struggling to pump efficiently, a condition that had been quietly progressing. Her persistent exhaustion was one of the earliest clues that her body was winding down. Emotional and social impact. This kind of fatigue often affects more than just the individual. It ripples through their relationships. Loved ones may misinterpret the withdrawal as disinterest or depression, which can lead to misunderstandings. The person may feel frustrated or guilty for not being able to push through the tiredness, especially if they've always been active or independent. Socially, they may retreat from activities they once loved, not because they've lost interest, but because the energy required feels insurmountable. What you can do. Recognizing persistent fatigue as a potential sign of decline requires sensitivity and proactive support. Encourage medical evaluation. Persistent fatigue should never be dismissed as just aging. Encourage a doctor's visit to rule out treatable causes like anemia, thyroid issues, or medication side effects. If it's related to a terminal condition, early detection can guide care decisions. Adapt daily routines. Break tasks into smaller, manageable steps. For example, instead of expecting a full morning routine, suggest one task at a time, like washing their face or eating a small meal. Prioritize restful activities. Help them find low-energy ways to stay engaged, like listening to audiobooks, watching favorite shows, or having short, meaningful conversations. Offer emotional support. Acknowledge their fatigue without judgment. Phrases like, "I can see you're feeling really tired. Let's take it slow together," can validate their experience and reduce feelings of isolation. Persistent fatigue is one of the body's most honest signals. It's not about laziness or lack of willpower. It's a sign that the body is redirecting its limited resources. By responding with patience and understanding, you can help ease the burden and create moments of connection that matter deeply. Number 3. Subtle changes in voice and speech patterns. The human voice is a powerful instrument, conveying emotion, personality, and vitality. When that voice begins to soften, slow, or falter, it's easy to attribute the change to aging or fatigue. However, in many seniors, particularly in their final year of life, subtle shifts in voice and speech patterns can serve as quiet but significant indicators of deeper physical and physiological changes. These changes often go unnoticed because they develop gradually, but they carry profound meaning when viewed in the context of overall health decline. Why it happens. Speech relies on a complex interplay of muscles in the throat, mouth, tongue, and diaphragm, all of which require energy and coordination. As the body conserves energy in its final stages, these muscles may weaken, leading to a softer, raspier, or less distinct voice. Reduced lung capacity or weakened diaphragm muscles can make it harder to project sound, resulting in a quieter or breathier tone. Neurological changes, such as those seen in early dementia or stroke, can also affect speech clarity, though not all vocal changes are cognitive in origin. Often, the person simply lacks the energy to speak loudly or sustain long conversations, so they speak less or pause more frequently. These shifts can also be influenced by dehydration, medication side effects, or reduced saliva production, which affects articulation. Real-life example. Richard, an 80-year-old retired school principal, was known for his booming voice that commanded attention in any room. His wife, Margaret, began noticing subtle changes. His once vibrant good morning greeting became a faint whisper, and he stopped joining in lively family discussions. During conversations, he'd pause longer between words or leave sentences unfinished. "It's just my throat acting up," he'd say dismissively. Over time, his voice grew so faint that it was hard to hear him across the dinner table. Within a year, Richard's health declined rapidly, and doctors explained that his vocal changes were tied to overall muscle weakening and reduced energy reserves, early signs of his body's transition toward the end. Subtle signs to watch for. A softer or more fragile voice, especially in someone who was once loud or expressive. Longer pauses between words or sentences, as if speaking requires effort. Increased repetition or losing the thread of a conversation. A tendency to speak less or avoid conversations altogether, especially in group settings. Slurring or hesitancy in speech, particularly later in the day when energy levels are lowest. Emotional and social implications. These changes can be isolating. A person who once loved telling stories or debating ideas may feel frustrated or self-conscious about their fading voice. Loved ones might misinterpret their silence as disinterest or cognitive decline, which can strain relationships. For the individual, speaking less may reflect a conscious or subconscious choice to conserve energy for more essential functions, like breathing or staying alert. What you can do. Responding to vocal changes requires patience and attentiveness. Listen actively, lean in, reduce background noise, and give the person time to express themselves without rushing them. This shows respect for their effort to communicate. Encourage hydration. Dry mouth can exacerbate speech difficulties. Offer water or sugar-free lozenges to keep the mouth moist. Seek medical input. A speech therapist or doctor can assess whether the changes are due to treatable causes, e.g., medication side effects, or part of a broader decline. Adapt communication. Use written notes, gestures, or simple yes/no questions if speaking becomes too taxing. For example, ask, "Are you comfortable?" instead of open-ended questions that require longer responses. These vocal shifts are more than just a sign of aging. They're a window into the body's changing priorities. By noticing and responding with care, you can help maintain connection and dignity during a time when communication becomes more effortful. Number 4. Subtle changes in breathing patterns. Breathing is the rhythm of life, often so automatic that we barely notice it until something changes. In the final year of life, subtle shifts in breathing patterns can emerge as a quiet but powerful indicator that the body is entering a new phase. These changes are often so gradual that they're overlooked, but they carry significant meaning when observed closely. Recognizing these patterns can offer insight into a person's health and provide opportunities to offer comfort and support. Why it happens. As the body ages or approaches the end of life, the respiratory and cardiovascular systems undergo significant changes. The lungs lose elasticity, making it harder to take deep, full breaths. The diaphragm and intercostal muscles, which support breathing, weaken, leading to shallower or more labored breaths. If the heart struggles to pump efficiently, oxygen delivery to the body diminishes, prompting the respiratory system to compensate with altered breathing patterns. Conditions like heart failure, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, or terminal illnesses can exacerbate these changes, leading to symptoms like wheezing, gasping, or irregular breathing rhythms. One specific pattern, known as Cheyne-Stokes respiration, is particularly common in the later stages of life. This involves cycles of rapid breathing followed by slower breaths and brief pauses, apnea, often occurring during sleep. While unsettling for loved ones to witness, it's typically not painful for the person experiencing it. These changes reflect the body's attempt to conserve energy and regulate oxygen when resources are limited. Real-life example. Margaret, a 76-year-old grandmother, began showing subtle breathing changes that her daughter noticed during phone calls. Margaret's voice sounded slightly labored, as if she were catching her breath after a short walk. She dismissed it, saying, "I just moved too fast across the room." Over time, however, she started avoiding long conversations, citing tiredness. At night, her family noticed she sighed frequently or paused between breaths. Months later, Margaret was diagnosed with advanced pulmonary fibrosis, a condition that had been quietly progressing. Her breathing changes were among the earliest signs that her body was struggling to keep up. Subtle signs to watch for. Shallow or uneven breathing, especially during rest or sleep. A faint wheeze, cough, or gasping sound that wasn't present before. Frequent sighing or pausing between breaths, often unconsciously. Complaints of breathlessness or chest tightness, even without exertion. Increased fatigue or restlessness at night, possibly linked to disrupted breathing. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Psychological and emotional connections. Breathing is deeply tied to emotional well-being. As the body nears the end of life, anxiety or a sense of unease can manifest as breathlessness or chest tightness. These feelings may not always be verbalized, but they can contribute to restlessness or a desire for quieter, less stimulating environments. Conversely, breathing difficulties can heighten anxiety, creating a feedback loop that exacerbates both physical and emotional discomfort. What you can do. Responding to breathing changes requires a balance of vigilance and gentleness. Observe closely. Pay attention to the rhythm, depth, and ease of breathing, especially during rest or sleep. Note any patterns, like pauses or wheezing, and share them with a healthcare provider. Create a calming environment. Reduce physical and emotional stress by keeping the room quiet, well-ventilated, and free of strong odors or allergens. Elevating the head with pillows can ease breathing during sleep. Encourage medical assessment. Breathing changes can stem from treatable causes like asthma, sleep apnea, or medication side effects. A doctor can determine whether interventions like oxygen therapy or medication adjustments are appropriate. Offer reassurance. If the person seems anxious about their breathing, provide calm, grounding support. Simple breathing exercises, like slow inhales and exhales, can help if they're able to participate. Breathing changes are a reminder of how deeply connected the body and mind are. By listening to these subtle rhythms, you can offer comfort and advocate for care that honors the person's needs during this tender phase of life. Number 5. Growing indifference toward daily routines and personal hygiene. For many people, daily routines like brushing their hair, dressing neatly, or preparing meals are expressions of identity and pride. When these habits begin to fade, when someone who was once meticulous about their appearance stops caring about grooming or skips meals without explanation, it's often a sign of a deeper shift. In the final year of life, growing indifference toward personal hygiene and daily routines can signal that the body and mind are redirecting energy away from external tasks and toward internal reflection or rest. Why it happens. This indifference often stems from a combination of physical and emotional factors. Physically, the energy required for routine tasks becomes harder to muster as fatigue sets in. The body prioritizes essential functions like breathing and circulation over non-essential activities like grooming or housekeeping. Mentally, the person may be entering a phase of introspection, where external appearances or routines feel less significant. This isn't necessarily depression, though it can resemble it, but rather a natural turning inward as the body prepares for the end of life. Neurological changes, such as those in early dementia or side effects from medications, can also contribute to this disengagement. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 3 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Real-life example. Edna, an 81-year-old woman, was known for her impeccable style, always dressed elegantly, even for small errands. Over several months, her daughter noticed changes. Edna stopped wearing her signature earrings, left her hair unstyled, and sometimes wore the same nightgown for days. Her once spotless home began to gather dust, and she showed little interest in meals, saying, "I'm fine, I just don't feel like fussing." When pressed, Edna brushed it off with a smile, but her family later learned she had been living with an undiagnosed terminal illness. Her withdrawal from routines was one of the earliest signs that her body and mind were beginning to let go. Subtle signs to watch for: skipping showers, brushing teeth, or changing clothes for days at a time. Neglecting personal grooming, like combing hair or shaving, in someone who was once particular about their appearance. Losing interest in meals or eating irregularly, even when food is readily available. Allowing household tasks, like cleaning or organizing, to fall by the wayside. Expressing apathy toward activities that once brought joy or structure, like gardening or reading. Emotional and social implications. This indifference can be distressing for loved ones, who may feel frustrated or helpless watching someone they care about give up. For the individual, however, it's often not about giving up but about redirecting limited energy toward what feels most essential, whether that's spending time with loved ones, reflecting on memories, or simply resting. This shift can also be a way of reclaiming autonomy, as the person chooses what matters most in their final chapter. What you can do. Responding to this sign requires compassion and a focus on connection rather than correction. Offer gentle support. Instead of insisting on routines, offer help as an act of love. For example, brush their hair for them or prepare a simple, appealing meal to share. Respect their pace. Avoid pushing them to snap out of it. If they're uninterested in grooming, ask if there's something specific they'd enjoy, like a favorite outfit or a warm washcloth for their face. Look for underlying causes. Consult a doctor to rule out depression, medication side effects, or nutritional deficiencies that might contribute to apathy. Focus on connection. Spend time together in low-pressure ways, like watching a favorite movie or reminiscing about shared memories. These moments can be more meaningful than enforcing routines. This growing indifference is not a sign of neglect or failure. It's a natural part of the body and mind slowing down. By approaching it with empathy, you can help the person feel seen and valued, even as their priorities shift toward rest and reflection. Thank you for joining us on this important journey through the subtle signs that can signal a significant shift in life. These gentle nudges from the body, whether it's persistent fatigue, a quieter voice, changing breathing patterns, or a fading interest in daily routines, are more than just quirks of aging. They're invitations to pay attention, to respond with care, and to embrace the time we have with greater intention and love. We'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that resonated with you, and how do you plan to bring it into practice in your life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights inspire us and others. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us keep creating content to inform and inspire you. Until next time, take care and stay aware.